Alright, welcome to the most up-to-date and comprehensive decoration fundamentals guide you will ever find. I will be covering the absolute basics. I will cover some advanced topics like clipping and some other stuff, pre-placement modifiers, post-placement modifiers, and all the above. I will also be covering some nifty features as well as some of the newer things that were just barely added to make sure that everyone is up to date on everything that they should be. To start, we're going to talk about how to enter decoration mode. You can either enter decoration mode from hitting escape, going to decorations and hitting decorate, or alternatively, if you are at the room's console, you can access that and get into decoration mode that way. This can be used if you are in a different dojo that is not yours to access decoration mode all the same. Nothing you do will have any effect, but you'll still be able to preview things in decoration mode. When in decoration mode, you can press 1 to bring up the decoration menu. Everything is sorted into a whole bunch of tabs to help things be a bit more organized for you, or you can search in the search bar instead. If you cursor over a decoration, it will show you the description, the capacity cost of the decoration itself, as well as the capacity remaining in the room. Every room has different capacities, so please keep that in mind when you are planning out projects. Not all decorations are one capacity, so if you're going to be using a lot of one specific type, be sure you check, as some cost 2, 10, or even 20, like atmospherics. To select a decoration, you can either click on the decoration and then hit select decoration, or you can double click on the decoration itself, and that will put you into placement mode. When you enter decoration mode, you are in what is called free placement, and as the name would imply, you can place the decoration just about anywhere you would like, and it will maintain its orientation relative to the room. However, there are specific places called red zones where you cannot place a decoration. They are by the player or by interactive objects. They used to be by consoles and doors, but a recent update removed that for the most part. There isn't a whole lot you can do to bypass that, so just build around red zones when you have to. To place a decoration, simply left click and it will place in a non-funded state. This is yellow, and until you fund it, it will not go anywhere. To fund a decoration, cursor over it and press 2. This will bring up the funding menu. You can either fund things individually or select the contribute all option. Afterwards, it will turn blue. Once it is funded and blue, you have the option to press 2 again to pull up the timer and its progress. You also have the option to rush things with plat. The plat cost currently scales with your clan tier as well. This is also just an in general god-awful decision. Please do not ever fucking rush your stuff. It's a mistake. If you don't feel like funding each decoration individually, I don't blame you whatsoever. A while back, I had actually made a video talking about how it takes 2 hours to fund a open space room from start to finish, and that ended up sparking a bit of dojo changes, the first of which is auto fund. If you head to the treasury, or your vault as it is otherwise called, you can go to the bottom right and there is a toggle option to auto contribute to decorations as they are placed. This does affect your entire clan, by the way, so if anyone in your clan places a decoration after this has been turned on or off, it will affect them as well. Please be aware that this does auto fund polychromes, which we'll get into in a bit. You can right-click on a decoration at any point in its funding or construction process, and all resources spent or plat on rushing will be refunded. The first placement modifier we'll talk about is surface snapping. If I press F, you will see the free placement mode changes to surface snap mode, in which case you can push the decoration against a surface and it will orient itself to match. This placement modifier is a toggled option, and all toggled options remain on even after you have placed a decoration. So if you place it and go to place another one, surface snap will still be on for the next decoration you place until you turn it off. The next modifier we'll talk about is called grid snap. If I hit my shift key here, you will see it change to 1/10 of a meter, and then a 1/4 meter, and then a full meter grid snap. This is extremely useful for lining things up depending on what you're trying to do, or just trying to keep things straight in general. This can be turned off simply by hitting shift enough so that it returns to a 0 meter option. Next up is push and pull, which is achieved by holding X and moving your mouse away from you or closer to you to bring the object farther or closer, respectively. Next up is scaling, which is similar to push and pull. It is achieved by holding R and dragging your mouse away from you to make it bigger, or closer to you to make it smaller. Alternatively, you can use the plus and minus keys on the numpad if you would like consistent measurements for what you are scaling to. Next up, we're going to talk about billboard facing, which is by far the most useless function we have available. Normally, when you turn an object or move it about, it stays relative to the room no matter what you do. However, as you see when I toggle on billboard facing, it will keep its orientation relative to your camera rather than relative to the room itself. This is utterly pointless, and I imagine that just about everyone who advocates for this function sounds like this. The next thing that we'll talk about will help you understand why billboard facing is so bloody useless, and that is rotation. If you hold right click, you will see circular axes show up to indicate where you will turn. Move your mouse to the left to turn left, or right to turn right. You can change the axis of rotation by pressing Z, and then you can rotate it which way you would like that way. There are 3 axes you can rotate, and you can just switch back and forth freely. Only while right click is held, you can press X. It will reset all rotations done to a decoration and return it to its default position. This will not reset the scale, only the rotation. Similar to grid snap, rotation also comes with rotation snap. It is also activated by pressing Shift, and that will cycle through a 15 and 45 degree rotation. That wraps up pre-placement modifiers. Now let's move on to post-placement modifiers, the first of which is duplication. Pressing F on an object will allow you to copy it. What is convenient about this is it allows you to copy the rotation as well as the scale. Next is the big one. This is constrained movement, and this separates the good decorators from the decorators who have no clue what they are doing or how other people make what they make. If you are not aware of the full functions that constrained movement entails, you are not a decorator. Press R to enter constrained movement, and you will see axes relative to the room appear at the object's anchor point. You can rotate the object while it is in constrained movement, and you can also move it according to the axes that it shows by pressing the corresponding keys. Both grid snap and rotation snap apply if you would like to turn them on while in this mode. Everything so far is what is referred to as world movement when in constrained. However, you can press Z to enter local translation, and this allows you to see axes relative to the object itself as opposed to relative to the room. Pressing the corresponding keys will move that object in the new directions shown. The reason why this is so crucial is it allows you to slip decorations into places that you normally would never be able to reach in free placement. This includes clipping and a couple other methods. So as an example here, I'm going to show that with world translation, you can't get this Lua shard through the ground, but if you place it up against the ground and switch to local translation, just like your dad, it's gone. I'm not going to get too in-depth on clipping in this video. In the top right here at this moment, I will have a link that will take you to the most up-to-date clipping video that I have available. I will be making another one that will go alongside this video. If you are watching up to this point, please open another tab to have that video to watch after you are done. It is crucial. Next, we're going to talk about personal decorations. These are obtained by donating to the treasury or vault orbiter decorations that you have. So if you enter the mode and press 1, you can see the menu for the decorations here. Most of them cost 5, some cost 1, and some can cost up to 20. Also keep in mind that when you go to place one, you'll see here that I don't have the option to scale this. If an object is small enough, the grid snap can only get to 1/10 or 1/4 meter options and not the full meter option. And then also when you go to duplicate it, you can only duplicate it if you actually have more of the object. An incredibly useful function that was added just barely is called preview decorations. You go to the room console, and once you click it, it will have a 60-second countdown that will preview all decorations in a built and funded state. They are not just see-through, they are solid. You can go hop on them and look around your room and try and see how things are looking before you make the decision to fund them. This is incredibly nifty. You can't access decoration mode while it is active, but you can cancel it early. Skyboxes are another cool feature for some rooms. Currently, this is only usable on the Inspiration Hall, the Observatory, or the Open Space room, though I do expect they will add it to the Starlight Market. If a room allows for it, you simply go to the room console, click Select Backdrops, and choose from research that you have already completed in the Tenno Lab, and it will instantly apply like this. The last and final thing to talk about in this video is the Polychrome function. When you go and select that, it will give you an object to place. It is exactly like a decoration, except when you place it, it doesn't have a yellow or blue funding state, and you can't fund it either just by looking at it. You have to go and interact with it. It is something that you have to use. Once you do, you will pull up and see that there are 4 options. You can either fund the construction, preview the colors, see the room colors, or see the room lighting. So we're going to ignore the first 2 first. We're going to go to room colors. You can see that you can essentially select a good range of colors for the room depending on what you're wanting to do with it if you don't completely cover it up anyways. And then when it comes to the room lighting, you see you have quite a few choices. Be advised though that this does not apply to every room. Not all rooms are created equal when it comes to their lighting. Open space, as an example, is completely dominated by accent, and key has no sway. As an example here, I'll use Pontiff's Cathedral. If I set the accent to black and the fog to black, if I change the key, literally nothing in the room changes at all. We're kind of hoping that we might be able to get some custom light sources in the future, but that's a hop, skip, and a jump out to Fantasyland. Using the preview colors option will preview the template of colors that you have chosen. It can can be bypassed, however, by hitting escape, going to decorations, and removing the polychrome before the timer runs out. You can see the timer is halted there. If you want to get rid of that timer still, you can just enter decoration mode and that will get rid of it. If you do want to revert the colors back to how they were, keep in mind that these colors are not permanent when you do it like this, you simply pop out the Polychrome console and interact with it again. The color options for the Polychrome are obtained through pigment research in your Tenno lab. I know a lot of people have been crying about how they've been wanting a lot more pigments options. However, we have been getting some pretty fantastic changes for the dojo. I want to give a big thanks to DE for working with myself and a few others in the dojo improvements group. If you guys want to subscribe and fund that like button, I will be sure to pump out videos on updates and changes as soon as I can, and you guys will know as soon as I know. If you guys have ideas for videos I should make, or ideas for dojo QOL, or just changes in general, you are more than welcome to put that in the comments below or join the Discord and tell me in person.